Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar about InSpec 6 launch. And with respect to today's speakers, Akshay and I are the speakers for today's session. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Lokesh. I'm currently working as a senior product manager at Progress Software. I primarily take care of product management responsibilities associated with Chef Complaints product. And I've been associated with Chef for more than 3 years. And Akshay, would you like to give an intro about yourself?
Thank you, Lokesh. Hello, everyone. I'm Akshay, Technical Marketing Manager from Technical Product Marketing Team.
Thanks, Akshay. Now let's move on to today's agenda. So over the course of today's session, we'll cover about key features we have launched for InSpec 6. We will cover about InSpec Parallel feature, which helps compliance users to do quicker audits. And we'll also cover importance of sign profile and audit log support functionality and how these features helps to enhance the security aspects of compliance user. And then like how users can access and activate InSpec 6 license key. So these are the items we are planning to cover in today's session. Let's move to InSpec 6 GA. So if you see InSpec 6 has been launched in November, and one of the key features launched in InSpec 6 is InSpec Parallel. So this feature is launched to address the fulfill the needs of compliance users to perform multiple scans, like multiple executions simultaneously. Yeah, I'll be giving more details about InSpec Parallel feature in next slide. And another key aspect introduced as part of InSpec 6 is free tier, trial, and commercial license key. So basically, users have to enter a license key to perform InSpec execution moving forward. And again, I will cover more on licensing aspects in upcoming slides. And one other important item to note here is like we have also provided the fix for key InSpec CVEs related to InSpec archive, InSpec check, and InSpec export commands as part of InSpec 6 release. So yeah, now let's see what's the InSpec parallel feature. So before introducing InSpec Parallel feature, users can run only one scan at a time on a single target. So the pain point for compliance users is like the audit time taken to do a complete scan on a fleet of thousands of targets. It is very high and it's very humongous. So in order to solve this pain point, we have introduced the parallel feature. So some of the key use case for inspect parallel feature are users can scan multiple targets with same set of audit profiles simultaneously. This is one use case. Users can scan a CentOS benchmark profile on multiple targets simultaneously. So this is one use case. And second use case is users can scan multiple targets with different set of audit profiles simultaneously. That is, for example, if you have CentOS and Windows benchmarks on multiple targets separately, you can able to scan CentOS and Windows benchmarks simultaneously on CentOS and Windows targets. So this is like multiple targets with multiple profiles. And then the third key use case is profile splitter use case. So in profile splitter use case, where users can split one profile into multiple batches and run on a same target simultaneously. That is, for example, if a user wants to scan, let's say Windows 2016 benchmark of 400 controls, he can probably split that into two batches, like 200 controls each, and run on a single target node simultaneously. So these are the key use case of InSpec Parallel. So with respect to InSpec Parallel, users can get a lot of flexibility and they can also quickly complete their audits on a fleet of hundreds and thousands of targets. So this is the benefit about InSpec Parallel feature. And you'll be seeing more in InSpec Parallel demo, where Akshay will be giving a parallel feature demo. Let's see the demo right now.
Chef InSpec has the functionality to execute on a single target only, where each inspect run sets up a connection to precisely one target, performs OS detection, runs the tests, and reports the outcome. With InSpec Parallel mode, users have the ability to quickly scan multiple profiles on multiple targets where it can be used to scale to hundreds of nodes rapidly. You can make quick investment decisions on other compliance aspects with near real-time insights. In this demo, we'll understand how to run a scan on different machines, both on premises and in the cloud, using InSpec Parallel. To begin, I've set up 3 different EC2 instances: Debian, CentOS, and Red Hat Linux operating systems in my Amazon cloud. Again, based on requirements, some of these could be running in an on-premises environment. Using your editor of choice, enter the following commands which will connect to the remote instances and log their output to a file. Let's take Red Hat as an example, which will use the Red Hat CIS benchmark profile and connect to the EC2 machine using SSH with a credential key. And the output of the command will be written to the rel.out file. Based on requirements, you could run one or multiple profiles on the nodes. In this example, I'll run one profile with multiple control files on the respective machines. Download the audit content from the Automate UI, or use the Chef Premium Content service to access the latest profiles. Next, run scans on multiple nodes using the command InSpec Parallel, where the flag -O indicates the input text file, which was created earlier, and the flag -J means the number of jobs or scans to execute at a given point. From the command line interface, we can see the scans running on the 3 machines with 3 different slots. Each slot is given a unique ID that could be used later, and execution time varies based on each machine's number of profiles and control files. In addition, we can notice that the scans are running in parallel on all 3 machines, which reduces the execution time drastically. Once the scans are completed, each will log its output to a file. For example, Red Hat Scan will log its data to the file rel.out. Using the command line ls, we can view all the logs and output files created during the process. Taking a look at the first log file, which will give us details like the start and end time, the run time of the scan, profiles used to run the scan, credential file used, and much more. Now, looking at the output file, which details how many controls passed and how many of them have failed and skipped. In addition, it provides a detailed summary of the execution for each node, which can be worked upon later. For example, we have 180 passed controls and 10 failures for the Debian machine. I hope this demo was insightful. We learned how to create a simple text file containing the node details, profiles, etc., and execute them parallelly using InSpec Parallel. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Akshay, for the insightful demo on InSpec Parallel feature. Let's move on to the licensing tiers. So we are offering multiple licensing tiers for Chef InSpec, like free tier, trial, and commercial licenses. So this is basically to obtain more visibility into our product usage and to identify users and to ensure that our customers can use our services easily and see that they get more value from our product. And now let's see how a free tier, trial, and commercial license works. And if you see, free tier users are limited based on the number of targets, whereas they are not limited based on time limit. Whereas the trial users, they are limited based on number of time, that is 30 days, but they are not limited on the targets aspects. So they can scan unlimited number of targets. That is with respect to trial. And if you see on the commercial side, they are entitled to get all the features, and they are entitled for the number of targets purchased and the subscription period they are purchased. So this is about the commercial license. And yeah, so the basic objective of the licensing tier is we aim to provide enhanced value and continued support to our InSpec users, so enabling them to use Chef InSpec in a way that best suits their unique requirements. So this is about the licensing tier. Now let's see the summary of about InSpec licensing. So basically, if you are commercial users, you are entitled to get all the features and benefits which comes along the purchased subscription. So and then like with respect to license key has to be provided to access the features of InSpec 6. And commercial users can access the key from support portal. So I'll cover this in the next slide, and we'll also show a demo to access and activate the license key. So users can also activate the license key via an automated approach, and they can also set the key via environment variable for activating InSpec. Yeah, so this is the summary about InSpec licensing. Now let's see how users can download InSpec 6 and access InSpec 6 license key in the upcoming slides. Now, if you see how users can download InSpec 6, so customer has to go to chef.io/downloads portal. Yeah, if you're a commercial customer, you have to select the current customer sections, and then you have to click on the customer portal. So if you go into the customer portal, you'll be asked for the login ID and password. You have to enter the login ID and password. And once you enter the portal, you will see the list of assets you are entitled. You will see like Chef InSpec, Chef Infra, Chef Automate, Chef Habitat, whichever assets you are entitled. And now you have to select the inspect line item here. And if you select inspect, these are the details shown. And you have to click on the download button shown here. So if you click on the download, InSpec 6 will download. So this is how you access InSpec 6 from the support portal. Now, let's see how you can access the InSpec 6 license key. So the same steps for downloading in the previous slide you have followed, no? Like let's say you go into Chef IO downloads, select current customers and visit the customer portal, log in with the ID and password. You will select the InSpec line item. And if you see here, there is a serial key starting with VCC. So this is the license key for InSpec 6. So you have to copy this license key and store it somewhere. And once you have this license key, now let's see how you can activate the InSpec 6. So in the next step, so you have to install the InSpec 6. So you have downloaded the InSpec 6 and you have to install the InSpec 6. So once you install the InSpec 6, you will see this message, installation was successful. Now you have to go to CLI and run any commands like inspect shell, inspect exec, so and so. If you run these commands, you will be prompted with this one, like please choose one of the options below. That is like I already have license ID. Second option is I don't have a license ID and would like to generate a new license ID, and skip. So for all the commercial customers, you have to select I already have a license ID. So you have to select this option and you have to copy paste the license ID which you have obtained from this step. So please, you have to select like I already have a license ID, and it will prompt you to enter the license ID. You have to paste the license ID, and once you enter the license ID, your license key would be activated. Now let's see all these things in a demo.
Progress Chef is constantly investing to support our customers and the chef community. To obtain more visibility into our product usage, identify users, and ensure that customers can use our services efficiently, we offer multiple licensing tiers with the latest version of Chef InSpec 6. With licensing tiers, we aim to provide more value and continued support to our users, enabling them to use Chef InSpec in a way that best suits their unique requirements. As we advance, you'll need a license key to access the latest version of Chef InSpec 6. The inspec-v command helps you know what InSpec version has been installed on the machine. I have the latest version 6.4.40 installed. To access the license validation, enter the command inspect shell, which will provide you with a list of options. As we start with the free tier, I'll select the second option, I don't have a license ID, and then choose the free license option. Click on the provided link, which will redirect you to a form on the chef.io website. Fill in all the required fields such as name, email address, organization name, phone number, and country, and submit the form. Be sure to select free under the licensing type. An email with the license enclosed will be sent out to the above given email address. Enter the license key and submit. Once entered and verified, you'll see a success message, license validated successfully. Chef InSpec 6 free tier will be activated and valid for 10 targets. The license file details will be saved in the licenses.yaml file under the .chef directory. To access the trial tier, enter the command inspect shell and choose trial license within the I don't have a license ID option. Once again, click Click on the link and enter the relevant details into the form and submit. Make sure trial tier is selected and your business email was used to obtain the trial license. The email with the trial license enclosed will be sent out to the above given email address. Enter the license key and submit. Chef InSpec 6 trial tier will be activated and valid for 30 days. Lastly, to access the commercial license, visit the Downloads portal within the Chef Downloads page and select the option for current customers if you're an existing customer, or for a new Chef user if you're new to Chef. Select InSpec from your contract list and copy the asset key. Make sure to save it for further use. Within the terminal, once again, enter the command InSpec shell. This time, choose the first option, I already have a license ID. Paste the copied key from the previous step. Chef InSpec 6 commercial license will be activated and valid until the service end date. The table summarizes the 3 available licensing tiers, providing our customers with the options needed for getting up and running with Chef InSpec 6. For more information, visit us at chef.io.
All right. So another couple of features which we have launched in preview or MVP state with InSpec 6 are audit log support feature and mandatory profile signing feature. So with respect to audit log support feature, the audit log support it's basically like a process of documenting any activities associated with software systems which used across your organization. So this is the basic functionality of audit logging. And so basically audit logs record the occurrence of an event, the time at which it occurred, the responsible user or service, and then all these things in an impacted targets like the devices in an on-prem network or in your cloud services or in your any external applications or DB applications, so on. So this feature, it is used by system admins and compliance users to review the audit logs, and they can also track user activity with respect to the inspect front. So basically, the end goal of this feature is to provide support for users to have audit log in troubleshooting any system issues, or to reconstruct any security breach, or to provide legal evidence as a proof of validity of a specific event. So these are the end goal of this audit log functionality. Currently, if you see, this feature is in nascent stage or in preview state. So we have provided the functionality to log the list of actions performed by the users, that is InSpec users, via commands and file accesses made via InSpec tree. So users can set this flag, that is like chef underscore preview underscore audit underscore logging. So they can set this flag equal to 1 so that this feature will be enabled. And if they want to disable this feature, they can set the flag to 0 so that the feature will get disabled. So when you set this feature, the logs will be captured in the inspect audit log and it will be in the JSON format. You will get a better understanding during the demo of this MVP feature provided by Akshay. And with respect to sign profiles, so sign profiles are the profiles executed only from the intended users or from the users within your particular organization. So this feature, it has been basically introduced for the security aspect to prevent tampering and to prevent the execution of profiles from unknown users, or to prevent the execution of profiles from users outside your organization. So in order to protect your security, or in order to have the security aspect, this sign profile concept has been introduced, and this sign concept has been introduced in InSpec 5 itself. So basically, when users execute inspect sign command, they will get the audit profile in .iaf format. So if a profile is in .iaf format, it is considered to be a signed profile, whereas the unsigned profile will have like .tar or .zip format. And then in what's new in InSpec 6? So in InSpec 6, we are enhancing the sign profile feature. That is, we are introducing a mandatory profile signing concept or execute only sign profile concept in InSpec 6. So when this flag, like chef underscore preview underscore mandatory underscore profile underscore signing flag is set to 1, users can able to execute only the signed content. And when users try to execute unsigned content, InSpec won't perform the scan and it will quit the scan by throwing an error. So you'll get a better understanding during the demo of this MVP feature. Please note, both this feature, audit log functionality and mandatory profile signing, are in preview state. So over to you, Akshay, for the demo of these features.
Hello everyone. In this demo, I'll be walking you through InSpec Sign and audit logging. So let's begin with InSpec Sign. To sign a profile, you'll be needing a key. The signing key is a secret and is used to sign the profile, while the validation key is used to verify the signed profile signature. If you see, I'm using the latest version of InSpec, which is 6.6. Now, we'll generate keys which will be used to sign your profile. For that, we'll be using the command inspect sign generate keys and my key, name of the key log profile. I won't be executing this command as I've already generated my keys and stored in my default directory .inspec. So if you see, I'm inside my .inspec. Let me go inside that folder and let's see. We have a private key and we have a public key. InSpec 6 and above has an optional settings requiring all profile to be signed. Now, if you want to enable this mandatory profile settings, you have to enter the command export chef preview mandatory profile signing and set it to any non-empty value. This means your system is now expecting a signed profile, and if you don't provide it, it will throw an error. Now, as we have enabled the mandatory profile, let's execute our InSpec with unsigned profile. If you see, it throws us an error and informs us that it's expecting a signed profile, right? Now, if you want to bypass it or disable the mandatory settings, you can pass another environment variable saying allow unsigned profiles, and if you execute the command again, it should work. Here we see that the command has been executed and we have a successful result. How do you do this? How do you sign a profile? You will be needing a signing key to sign the profiles, specifying the part of the profile and the name of the key. And the command for that is inspect sign profile, your profile name, and the key name to lock that particular profile. The command inspect sign will create a .iaf file with the name given in the title section of your inspect.yaml. If you see, this is the output which we have got while executing inspect sign. Please note that IAF file is not human readable. Use the inspect export command to examine a signed profile content. For that, we have a command inspect export and the profile name. The output of inspect export is a detail of your control files, what controls are used, and a bit more details on your inspect.yaml file and its source location. You can execute a signed profile like any other profile using inspect exec command. Inspect exec and the output of your inspect sign.iaf file is used to uh, run your audit scan. Here we have executed our command successfully and we have one successful control. My control file is very simple. It basically checks whether the package nginx has been installed or not. That's it with respect to inspect sign. Now we'll have a quick demo on inspect audit log. To enable audit logging, you need to set an environment variable export chef preview. Export chef preview audit logging is equal to any non-empty value. InSpec create log files within default.inspec folder. So before we run a exec command, let's check if the log folder is present inside our default directory. So let me open another terminal and check we don't have a log file. So now let's execute the inspect exec command. We are using the same control files as we use for inspect sign to check whether the package nginx has been installed. The command has successfully executed and we see one pass control. Going back to another terminal, we have logs folder, and this is the log file which was created during our execution. Let's go inside that and just maximize it. So the first is at what time it has been executed, which application, as we have using InSpec. So the application is InSpec. It's executed through command. So the type is command. What type of command it used to run, and the user with its host name. Multiple log files are created every time you run an exec command. Uh, let's going. Let's run a command again for me to show you more. Let's run this command once again. So now it has been executed. If now we see two separate audit log files, right? So it creates a log file each and every time you execute a inspect exec command. I hope this demo was insightful and you were able to understand how inspect sign and audit logging works. Thank you.
Now let's see other key features of the InSpec in the roadmap. So with respect to InSpec suggest, so one of the pain point we see with our compliance users, especially at the beginner stage or beginner level, they basically do not know which profiles to run on the target node. In order to help them or in order to guide them, InSpec suggest feature is being introduced. So when users input inspect suggest command, it will suggest which profiles to run on the target node. For example, if you have a target node, CentOS operating system, and then like MongoDB operating system, when user run inspect suggest on the target node, it will suggest available benchmarks from Chef like CAS or stick benchmarks with respect to CentOS and MongoDB. And with this feature, users don't need to look at automate or seamless content email, whether particular profile is available or not. So this basically reduces the search time of a profile from the user side. That is basically reducing the overall audit time of the users. So this is about the inspect suggest feature, which helps users to recommend the profiles to be run on that particular target node. And let's move on to attestations. And with respect to attestations, if you see like one of the key metrics or key goals for compliance users or admin is a test coverage for a particular audit. So let's say if you're a compliance user and you have to do ISO or NIST or FedRAMP related compliances. So there are controls in these benchmarks like which cannot be automated and which needs manual intervention. So there are controls like where each employee should be given a biometric access while entering the office, and there could be controls like each employee should be provided with an official ID card, and there are controls where each employee should undergo a background check by the HR team. So if you see, these controls cannot be automated, and it needs manual intervention to verify to pass or fail the controls. So while doing this compliance automation, it is very difficult to accommodate this test coverage of all these controls. So to tackle this bottleneck, we have introduced attestation concept where users can skip the control during the automation process. That is during the compliance automation process, they can skip the controls and manually mark these controls as passed or failed. So if you're doing so, this will help the compliance users to get 100% test coverage during the audit time, and will also help them not to miss out any controls during the audit. So that is the basic underlying objective of attestation feature. And I think we have covered two key features which are lined up in the roadmap, inspect roadmap perspective. All right. So we have seen the key features of inspect 6 and then the demo of all these items during our session. We hope you have a lot of insights during this session. So on a final note, let's see the key takeaways or summary why users need to upgrade to InSpec 6. So the first one is users can leverage InSpec Parallel feature to reduce the audit time and also to reduce operational cost involved in scanning multiple targets. And then the second aspect is to upgrade to a fixed version of InSpec CVEs, which are related to InSpec Archive, InSpec Check, and InSpec Export commands. And the third aspect is to enhance the security posture by leveraging the profile signing support feature and audit log support feature from InSpec 6. And finally, with respect to licensing, users can get continued benefits and entitled features by moving to InSpec 6. And they can also get more benefit down the line with innovative features like InSpec Suggest and InSpec Attestations. That brings to the end of the presentation. And now let's move on to the Q&A part. So there are few Q&A questions I'm seeing. So will the InSpec client check for the license key every time it is executed? Akshay, would you like to take a stab at it?
Sure. Yes, so InSpec will basically check for the licensing key every time it is executed. So as a user, you don't need to enter the licensing key or validate each and every time. You just need to do that once. But at the backend or at the system, InSpec will check for the licensing key every time it's executed.
Got it. Thanks, Akshay. And then there is another question. Currently, we are using InSpec as part of Chef complaints phase. How is this change going to impact us? So for this one, no. Currently, InSpec 6 with the complaints phase is in design phase, and it will be available soon in the upcoming quarters. So with respect to InSpec 6, the licensing aspects are we have launched only on the standalone CLI part, and then if you want to use complaints phase, you can continue to use the complaints phase with InSpec 5, and the same applies to Test Kitchen or even for Chef Automate. So yeah, so we are planning to roll out the InSpec 6 with complaints phase, InSpec 6 with Test Kitchen, InSpec 6 with Automate in the upcoming quarters. And there is one more question, like will source code be available for free tier, trial, and commercial users? Yeah, source code we provide to continue to this is continue to be available around open source Apache v2 license. So yeah, as Apache v2 users, you can continue to build, extend, and reuse the source code. And then there is one question around Automate. That is like if you already have a valid license for Chef Automate, do we have an InSpec 6 license, or is that something we need to speak to our account team to purchase? So for InSpec 6 license, you need to have a separate license key for InSpec. So if you have purchased complaints automation product or CSPM or desktop complaints product, you would have the InSpec license key. So then you could have directly access the license key from the portal, and you can activate the product. And if you are not having any InSpec product line, please reach out to our account team for further details. And then there is one question around, is this session being recorded? Yes, it is being recorded, and it's been available. It will be posted in YouTube shortly. And there is another question like, can we implement InSpec 6 in conjunction with other licensed product like Chef Automate bundle, as we are currently running, which is version 4.11.37. So currently, InSpec 6 bundle is not available in Automate right now. So as I mentioned earlier, InSpec 6 bundle with Automate will be rolled out in the upcoming quarters. And there is another question around InSpec vulnerability. So with recent InSpec vulnerability, we know that Chef InSpec 6 is safe, but how Progress plan to make the community version of the InSpec open source safe for use? So in this case, no. So we basically take vulnerabilities very seriously from Progress side. So we provide equal importance to commercial and open source users on the vulnerabilities front. And having said that, no, we have added a lot of security layers to our product line. For example, we have added integrating with code scanning tools, and we have also added more compliance related aspects to our product line itself. Probably I will share more details if you can drop a note to us. So our account team can give more specific details on this side. Yeah. And if you execute a scan using the InSpec 6, is there a different authentication method instead of only using a PEM file? Can it be configured to username or password for authentication instead? So current way we have implemented is with respect to .pem file. Moving forward, we will try to see the username and password authentication when we have the Chef platform aspects in the down the line in 6 or 7 months. So yeah, so this is about it. For the attestations, for those controls that we would skip on automation, can there be an input file type and used to insert manual responses to those controls that we would skip requiring manual actions? Yes, so there could be input file type as well. So this is how you are implementing waivers. No, similarly, you can implement a lot of things in attestations through a file type. So we'll provide more details when that feature is getting launched. So this is around the attestations. All right, so these are the questions we had. So if you have any further questions, please reach out to us in Slack. And that's bring the end of the webinar. I hope you had got a lot of insights from this session. And we really appreciate you for taking your time for attending this session. Have a great rest of the day, and thanks everyone.